Three, two. Hey, this is DJ Strick. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with us. And as you can tell, I'm not by myself. Look, let me go this way. Look who I have with me. Tanya is here with me. Tanya Smith is here. And I am so excited that, man, you are hanging out with the stream show tonight. How are you doing?
Doing great now that I'm here with you. This is the best part of my entire day.
Well, you know what? A lot of people say that when they come hang out with me.
It's true.
Some people say it's the best part of their whole life to hang out with DJ Strick. I don't know why they say that or why they feel that way, but thank you so very much for being here
Wow.
tonight. We have so much to talk about, but can we catch up a little bit as people come into the comments? I think Dan is in the comments. Hopefully, didn't know if I had a chance to see the show, but I'm glad to see you first. Okay, so he was the first like, and I'm going to bring it up in a few minutes, Dan, but tell me about Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you caught me off guard on that one. So Thanksgiving, I didn't do a whole lot of cooking because my sister-in-law hosted this year. So we were able to go. My husband is a twin, so his twin
That's what's
sister.
up.
Yeah,
Small world, so am I. I have a twin sister.
get out of
Yeah,
here.
yep. And then I have twin boys. My older kids are twin boys, and then she has twin girls.
Oh my
Listen,
goodness.
I'll tell you the secrets of how to get twins is no problem. I'll let you know how that happens, okay?
I'm
Don't feel
done.
bad.
I'm so done.
She
I'm
done.
finished. There are
I
no more.
got it. I
But
got it.
one of my daughters make because we have multiple twins throughout the family on his side.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you do collard greens and
I-
cornbread, or you didn't cook any of that?
No, I did cook the collard greens. I cooked the collard greens, and usually I like to do them. So I'm old school and I'm Southern, so I usually do it with ham hock, but I did it with
Okay.
neck bones this time.
Well, they
People
say
are
you're
like,
not supposed to
"Oh,
trade up on Thanksgiving, do different things. You're supposed to do the same thing. It's not a chance, not a time to experiment on Thanksgiving.
well, I did, and it turned out to be okay.
But
So
there
we
you
had the
go.
red pepper flakes, the red wine vinegar, all the stuff in it. It still was good, but I
That's what's
prefer the
up.
ham hock. Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it. I get it. So I had to kind of catch up with that. If you guys are coming on today, please let us know you're here tonight with us in the comments. And also, we're going to be talking about content planning for 2024. Now, if you know Tanya, she is a mastermind when it comes up with planning and details, period. So I have her here tonight, planning in detail. So I'm going like what we're gonna get tonight is what you have to pay for from her. I mean, I didn't ask you if you like give us your paid content, but I'm sure you're gonna share some stuff, right?
I'm gonna share some stuff. I
There you
can't share
go.
everything, but I'm gonna share some stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Let's do this really quick. Let's go to these comments. And there he is. My man Dan is here. Didn't even have a chance to see the show, but I'm glad to be the first. Like, Dan, thank you for coming through tonight. Man, we love to have you in the comments. So thank you for coming. And David, this is going to be a great show. Man, I love to set the expectations really high. Tanya, we're putting a lot on your back tonight to bring it to be a part of the show. So there's huge expectations. And then we have John here, and he's saying hello to everybody. John, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And yes, that is not a photo. Why is the photo not there? Are you not seeing it?
Oh, I think I'm here. Yeah. Oh, I think he means on the thumbnail. The thumbnail.
Oh,
Maybe that's
well,
it.
Dan, man, we have to keep you guys on your toes, right? We do. We do. I do have this thing, Tanya, to where I like doing things a little different. And every now and again, because it's about the content and not just all of our personalities, I add that in there. Not to be offensive to anybody, but man, I want to be sure that people are coming to get this information. And Tanya just so happens to be one of the persons that I'm partnering with. And we do have other guests that's going to be on tonight as well. So we have some people coming through, Dan. And I know it, just seeing me on the flyer could be like a downer. But it's going to be some good content tonight. So no worries at all. Tanya, what you do, let me explain it to people, or I'll ask the question. You can kind of help me. and what you do in your community, like helping people and coaching them through their content is part of what your community is all about, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my happy place. Content strategy, specifically with live stream video, but I've been a coach for since 2007, whatever the math is on that. So for a long time, and I've been in
Wow.
content field for for more than half of that time. So yeah, we really focus in on strategy and, like you said, details. That's
I
where the
like
money
that. That's what I need because we'll tell them later how I reminded you about the show. And Valerie, before you get on that plane, thank you for coming through and please be a part of our what we call the replay gang. Okay, thank you so very much to
is.
for coming through so far. So that being said, um, I guess I can tell the story now. And I told this story before. I am the world's worst. Then it's like, well, why are the flyers not the pictures not on the flyer? You know, I was just doing some things differently. And I'm be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? There's some shortcuts being taken here because of the schedule. So, you know, Dan has put me on Front Street, so I have to kind of explain it, you know. I am not as detailed as I would like to be. You and I, Tanya, have had tons of conversations about what you do. I've been a part of your ecosystem as far as being a guest on your show, and I was just kind of blown away about how you keep up with your guests, the things that you do, some of the tools that you use, because you went over that just a couple of um, shows ago about some of
Mhm.
the, whether it was not Airtable, but Retable
Mhm, mhm.
and Thrivecart and all these things that you're doing. I'm like, oh my God. I'm still text message, inbox and Instagram, inbox and Facebook, and you know, the day before reminder. That's it. And I know I would like to be a little bit more professional. I mean, you talked earlier, and I really did confess that I was using a system called TidyCal, and it kind of disintegrated on me. Like it just wasn't
Mhm.
reliable as far as when the days got booked, it wasn't automatically showing you book days, or it wasn't showing you days that I tried to keep and
Yeah.
not have someone book them. That was the issue. Like I booked myself, and that block should not be available, but it
Mhm.
still was available for clients to choose. And you don't want to go back and forth with clients. You know, you
No.
want to say, "Oh, you picked the wrong day," and all the other kind of stuff. So there you go. I just wanted to be sure that when I start again doing that, based off of your professional recommendation, I'll know what to do. All right, so let's just start here, and I know we're still waiting on a few people or Kirk to come through, but I want to start with the beginning. When we think about 2023, let's go back.
Mhm.
There's some ups and downs inside of our content planning that we can say, man, I wish I would have did a better job with this, or I wish I would have did a better job with that. I just explained my TidyCal app situation is more like Calendly. If you use that for app, it's more one of those kind of a replacement for that. And I thought I was the coolest man in the world just buying this app one time app sumo deal. It's gonna just take care of my calendar, and it didn't, and it did slow me down in some respect with booking guests. Do you have another example when you thought about your content in 2023, some things that you may have done a little different or would plan a little
Yeah.
different for the next year?
Yeah, my big, big, big one, which is something that I'm working on and it's part of my content strategy moving forward, is email. And it's not because of the system. The system wasn't the fail for me. It was me getting in my own way.
Got
Um,
you.
yeah, and we have to, as content creators, as anybody who's in business, period.
Hmm.
Right now, we can't rely on other people's property. So we can't
Social
rely on
media.
Facebook, yep,
Hmm.
Instagram, all of the LinkedIn even. We can't rely on them to help us to stay in contact with people. And what I realize is that I probably got in my own way by second guessing, like, do I really want to send that? Does anybody want to read that? Instead of thinking ahead of, okay, how do I plan my email strategy such that it's a conversation just like I'm having on live streams?
That's right.
How do I make sure that that email is supporting what I'm trying to promote and what I want to do? And so, yeah, for me, that was a big fail. That was, but I'm working on it as part of what I'm doing right now to prepare for 2024.
Let me give you another one for 2023 for me was coming out of the pandemic for the second year. Yes. 2022 was kind of okay to handle during the summer. The summer with my wife in 2023 was ridiculous. Okay. Now I booked the days. Okay. And we was just booking days after days. And it's is what you want to have as a artist. But I just was not prepared for, I guess I would say, her schedule and my schedule on Sunday. So
Yeah,
I had to be more mindful. Hey, Aubrey, thanks for coming through. I had to be more mindful of the summertime, making sure I had the bandwidth to do both things or three or
mhm,
four things that I'm doing now. But as I'm planning my content, I need to be sure that at the end of the day, I've already decided it's going to be those 8 weeks that I'm going to be off during the summertime. You know, it's
yep,
kind of like taking the Hollywood method. They're off on the summers, not to
yeah,
not give content, but to also give the other parts of my life some bandwidth to be able to be successful in those other areas. That makes me a better content creator too.
that's right.
So those are things that I'm thinking about as I'm building content strategy for 2024, that I'm thinking about, hey, this is where I was really, really stretched. This is where I did feel really overwhelmed by
Yes,
the just the thought that I'm responsible. Like I haven't told my audience I'm going to be out, and I was just out.
yeah.
So that's something that I'm thinking about. Do you have another?
Actually, I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off of yours because what I've been doing for the last probably close to 3 years now is going back to back to back with live streams until I'm burnt out, and then one day I decide I don't wanna do live today, right? So strategically, I'm really thinking backwards. I'm thinking from the offers that I'm gonna be promoting, and I've decided not only to take like a summer off, but to strategically put points within like every 3 months or so to say, "Okay, this month I'm not launching an offer,"
Gotcha.
right? So that I can make sure that I do build in that time throughout the year where I can just have a mental break because it is tough. You're right. We have so many things from a business standpoint we want to accomplish. We have a lot of content that we want to create. We have people that we've committed to providing a service for. And we have family. We got all these things pulling on us, but what about our own mental health and wellness? So that is
That's true.
top of mind for me right now is to really, really make that time.
And can I ask you a question? Just, as honest as you can, if you can respond to this. I know you will be honest anyway. At what point, when you got started and you say, hey, I'm going to be live on Thursday nights and we're going to have classes on this Saturday, at what point did you think, even in the beginning, did you ever think about off times? Or did you just say, hey, I'm going to be live every Thursday and it's 52 Thursdays?
Yep. That's what I thought. I thought, I'm going to do this once a week. That's not that bad. As a matter of fact, I started out saying I'm going to do twice a week. I quickly moved away from that.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't thinking that way. And honestly, it's one of the reasons why I'm not. I see so many people in there. What's up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Let's go. If you since we're stopping, since we're
yeah,
just
we got to
breaking
stop
out,
for
let's go this. So let's go to who was that? And Dan, I'll just be honest with you, Dan. Yes, she is perfect, and she was fronting, and you are so very right. She's much more pleasant to look at than Kirk, and I'm gonna just keep this up, for a while so everybody can see
Oh
it.
no, take that down.
uh, and
Down.
quick question with the Horton here: what do PC users use similar to Ecamm? And if you're a PC user using something similar, I would say vMix would be something
Yeah,
very similar to Ecamm that you can use. And I think that their system is when we talk about being robust, of doing some of the things Ecamm can, that's going to be the closest thing that I would recommend. There are some other stuff that's what we call browser based,
Yeah.
like OneStream Live that you can check out. It does have some features, but it is not like Ecamm. Okay. And Tatiana is hanging out with us today.
What's
So
up,
good to
girl?
see you. And Ecamm is Mac only. If you have a PC, you need something like OBS Studio. So John is absolutely right. We just don't recommend OBS Studios because all of us try OBS Studios, and that's why we're with Ecamm. John, OBS could be it is the learning curve with OBS is pretty tough for most people. So I really do recommend vMix. I've used vMix before I started with Ecamm because one of my clients was a PC user and needed it. So that would be my recommendation. It does cost, and OBS is free. So that's
Mm.
what's up. None other than my man Brant Collins is hanging out with us tonight. Brant, what's up, brother?
What's up, Brent? And
Yes.
Dawn Lacey, she actually teaches people how to use OBS. So I know that's why that's one of his recommendations. He's
Who
pretty
is that?
good too.
John does?
Um, yeah, yeah. Learn live streaming with John Lacey. OBS is his thing. It's his
Well,
jam.
there you go. If it's your jam, John, and you teach it, that's right on point. I
Yeah.
apologize for kind of just dismissing OBS because it is where everybody starts for whatever reason. If you want to go live, they start there and people start running. But if you have somebody that can teach it to you,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. And yes, you have every right to be jealous of Ecamm. I promise you. The best thing to do, you know what? They have the M1, M2 Max minis. Like we're talking about $500 price range
Yep,
that
it's
you
on
can use
sale.
with Ecamm. They're on sale, or were on sale. I don't know if they still are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. And I love seeing Kirk on the show too. He's also wise. Yes, you know what? My man Kirk is wise, and he's really, really knowledgeable about what he does. Also, a coach the whole nine. So he's gonna be on pretty soon too. Okay. Uh, okay. So she said, "Hello, John." Valerie, you're right. A lot of us have a hard time with OBS, but now that we know John, maybe he can teach us. There he is. It's not that hard.
That hard.
Thank you, John. Thank you for
Yeah.
putting this all straight because we've just turned the corner on OBS. It's like you have to have a medical degree to work at OBS. What are you gonna do with a medical degree? But you need it. Preaching to God, preaching of the gospel. Second week, I see you here, guy. Thank you so very much for coming through and being a part of it. And just get a Mac Mini is Brant's recommendation, and I am with Brant on that. Get a Mac
Yeah.
Mini. So, Tanya, we were talking about our strategies. We really went back to 2023 to talk
Yeah.
about some of the things that we did wrong or could now do right. I mentioned to you, like, why did we, in the beginning, decide to do every Tuesday, every Thursday for 52 weeks, never thinking that we needed a break? Like, that is just unbelievable to me. Like, I will say this, it was never talked about in the communities. I will say, let me say, because Brant is here. Brant and I both talked about having the stream show be like seasons. And when I came back off of one season, I said, I'm gonna be here every Sunday, with toothpicks holding my eyes up so I can be
Yeah.
here every Sunday. But now I know what to do and I know how to handle it. So I have decided that I am going to handle things differently. So
Yeah.
it's not 52 Sundays that I'm trying to be here on the stream show. Now, I'm saying
Mhm.
that because I want to set my audience up right. Okay.
Right.
I'm saying that because I want to be sure that the audience is aware when I'm going to be on and when I'm going to be off. And it's not just I abandon you for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I think that's
Mm.
important. Like, you're right. We hit a brick wall and we're out for 4 weeks and we get
Mhm.
refreshed and we're back. And guess what? You've lost some
Mm.
people.
Yeah.
right? You
I
lost some
mean,
people.
if we plan ahead, and that's why I'm saying I built that into my strategy so that I can plan ahead and deliver replays, of some of my favorite hits and let people know, hey, I'm going to be out this week, or this particular month or whatever the timing is that you plan for so that you can go ahead and schedule those things in advance.
Right.
So I think there are opportunities when you plan ahead and when you strategize about it versus just being completely burnt out. But, honestly, Strick, I think the reason why we didn't is because, like you said, it wasn't really talked about when we started doing this. And think about those challenges. How many people were doing, hey, do a 30-day challenge? We still have them now. Do a
Yeah.
30-day challenge. And so
Vlogmas.
you're training people mentally that, oh, I need to do this every single day. Even with reels now, people are doing 30-day challenges. And that kind of sets an unrealistic expectation for people because then they feel like, oh,
I
well,
got to
I need to
continue
keep
that.
going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
You're
one of
so
the
right with
reasons.
that. You're so right with that. And that being said, let me add in. I mean, Kirk here.
Hey, hey, hey.
What's up, brother?
Let me get myself right here. Hey, man, what's going on, man? It's good to be here.
Hey, I'm glad you were able to make it through. I know you had some family obligations, but we're talking about, me and you have discussed this before on the show, how, we've set ourselves up for 1 day a week live for 52 weeks with no breaks. And now we're planning content for 2024. We want to be sure that we plan to have those breaks.
Yes, absolutely. And I know you were sitting at the feet of the master, which is
Oh,
Tanya.
my
Thank you.
goodness.
It's good to be, listen, Tanya, it's good to be on screen with you again, sis. It's been
I
a little
know.
minute.
I miss seeing you and having
Yeah.
conversations. We had such a good time at Ecamm camp.
Yeah, we did. We did.
So you'll
We were, we
tap your
were, we
mic
were
for
in
me
the,
real quick. Be sure that we're coming through on this one.
this one.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to be sure we was coming through on the lapel.
Yeah.
You know,
Should I
this
turn it
is
up?
just a little bit, or there you
Maybe
go.
adjust it
I
up.
think I
Maybe
think
adjust
that
it
that'll
up.
Yeah.
help a
There we
little
go.
bit.
Maybe that'll
Yep.
do a little better.
So, Kirk, you and I have talked about this. Tanya is here. I do want to say this before I get going too far. I'm going to bring it back up because I'm just going to tell on Dan here really quick. Let me see if I can find it. I said I
Oh
was going to
no.
keep it up, and this is what Dan said. I'm just telling you what Dan said.
Hey, Dan, I agree with you, Doc. So you have no arguments from me, man.
He
No
said,
arguments from me.
"Hey,
Oh
I
goodness.
would much rather look at Tanya than Kirk."
No, we are together, Dan. We're no find no argument from me on that one at all. But
All right.
man, I'm excited to learn, man. I've got my notepad and paper out, so let's go for it.
So, my man Reggie here, greetings from Japan, new to the Ecamm community. Love you guys' software. I have up on OBS after.
Oh, he gave up. Yeah.
Yeah, we all did. So, John, don't feel bad about how we talk about OBS here. It's just is what it is. And then Tatiana is saying, Kirk, people were missing you a little bit, so you're here. So you're here.
I'm glad to be
And
here, man.
listen, let's just talk about the vest. You know what I'm saying? Let's just go on with pulling out the fashion tonight with the vest.
That
What was
is
the idea
nice.
behind that?
So like I said, I went to a program with the kids and had to it was a T, like a high T. So we had to
Okay.
dress up a little bit. And so I told Strick, I was like, man, this T went way over. And so I'm trying my best to get back home. In fact, I didn't make it home. I actually just went to my church studio and just went live from here, man. So I
But
didn't even
what
get,
you know
get a
what?
chance to go home today.
Well, I get it. And that's what's up. That's what's up. Let me see. Dan just said something here. I want to be sure. Isn't DJ a pastor and still against the cloud to put people on blast? Like, listen, that's what pastors do, man. Come on, we're gonna put you on blast.
Of
It's
course we can put you on blast.
it's kind of like preacher humor. Like when we could talk
Oh,
about people and not hurt their feelings too bad. It just is what it
absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. There's no better way to do it.
um, let's get into it really quick. I mean, we've talked a lot, and if I've already heard something, guys, that you could use. please hit the like button. Let us know that you're gaining something tonight. We're about to dive right in to a couple of concepts that's going to help you in your content planning. We
Absolutely.
already started with a couple, but I do want to recognize what we just said. Do not go into 2024 with a 52-week plan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, you want to look at holidays. You want to look at when you want to be off. Okay,
Yes.
there's several ways to do this. I think Hollywood's, or when we look at seasons inside of even some of our favorite shows, we're looking at 13 to 26 different episodes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
13 to 26 different episodes. So it could differ between, what type of genre it is, whether it's on cable, whether it's on just regular television, soaps, and all that kind of stuff. But,
Mm-hmm.
26 is half a year, and then 13 is half of that.
Yeah.
So think about breaking things up. So the first half of the year, easily, if you say, um, what are we talking about? If we say 13 weeks, that's 3 months. That's all 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? With
Yeah.
Yeah.
one piece of content. Because the
Yeah.
13th week between January and March, is there a fifth week in there somewhere? I know there's a Sunday. Maybe March has a fifth Sunday.
Maybe. I mean, it just depends. I mean, you get, yeah. So you have 4, 4, 8, 12. But when you get to like 13 to 14, you kind of cover for some of those months that have a few more. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think definitely looking at seasons is one thing. But I like what Tanya was saying earlier in terms of what are you going to plan for the off time? So don't just let it kind of happen upon you. But what are you going to be doing during that off time? I know one of the things I'm going to be doing this month is putting out a reel a day, a short per day. But we've been planning, my team and I have been planning for this since August. So it's actually very easy because we already have a lot of the stuff. We're not creating it on the fly. We're not creating it now. We're
Yeah.
actually able to just schedule and post.
Okay. So if I like that, but if we come in at 13, does that give us any bandwidth? That's the whole time, right? If I say 13 episodes between the first 3 months, like that's almost once a week.
I mean, it's
Oh
going to
man, I'm gonna bring up
depend.
my
Look,
calendar.
we can't, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, Strick. Even if you bring this calendar out, the fact is we can't plan. I can't plan for you,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
I
what
agree.
I'm teaching, when I'm talking to my clients, like we have a whole content planning camp coming up on Tuesday, right? So
Let's
when I'm,
do it. Let's do it. I love it.
he's
I
like,
love
I'm
that.
invited too. When I'm talking with these folks, my conversation with them is not about what I'm telling them they should do in terms of the week planning. My conversation with them is look at your calendar. Do you have birthdays coming up? Do you have holidays that you celebrate, that you and your family have vacations planned? Do you have trips to in person or even virtual conferences that you plan on doing in 2024? You already know some of the days that you want to block off. So for
Mm,
you, look at your individual situation, your circumstances, your reality, and that's how you then figure out when your breaks are going to be in there. Because what I found to be very true for myself, I'll speak for me, is that I was trying to do the cookie cutter stuff. I was trying to follow what other people were saying about, well, here's how you do, you need to do it this way. And it just didn't fit my life.
mm,
Gotcha.
Right. So I don't even know that we have to get that granular into telling people do a 13-week, but we do need to convince people, like you're doing, that you have to take the time to be aware of what your schedule is and realistically, what can you carry?
mm.
I
That's
like
so
All
that.
of
good.
us, like we could do 13 episodes in a row and be sweet, but there are some people that they would be out of gas by the third or fourth show. So I just want to put that out there.
I love it. And that is very wise as well, because it's not, I'm thinking from my perspective, hoping that as I think out loud, people in their own content will be thinking about it. Because I'm thinking about Sundays. Okay. I'm thinking
Right.
about
Yeah.
Sundays, and they could be like yourself on what, Thursdays
Mm-hmm.
and Saturdays, some Saturdays too.
Only when I feel like it.
See, there you go. I get it. I get it. But good
That
stuff.
is not the plan.
Good stuff. But if I haven't looked at this, like even thinking about 13 weeks, which I will personally get down to it, um, the last week of the month, actually the last 2 weeks, I'm going to be out. And then the
Yeah.
last week, and this is talking about March. March. So if I say 13 weeks, that is every weekend. 13 weeks is every weekend to the last Sunday in March for me, which is Easter this year because it's not in April.
Mm.
So if I'm not thinking about those things, and now I'm looking at the calendar, we're going to be in Newport for their symphony that my wife is doing. So that's the Sunday before. And all I'm saying is for people that yourself that you have life going on,
Yes.
be thoughtful for 2024. You may not be able to do the whole year, but at least give yourself the first 6 months of some real planning to say when you're going to be live and when you are going to be off. And think about at least the first. Now, I'm going to do as much as I can to plan out the whole year, knowing that things will change as far as new trends will come. Like I would place in a trend Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if something comes up, new camera comes out, new trend is out, YouTube changes, Instagram changes, I'm going to have just a box, a Sunday to handle trends that I can say 2 weeks ahead of time what that trend Sunday will be about. So I'm not boxing myself in with just this content for the whole year and then something changes and I have no bandwidth to talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to respond to Tatiana as well in the chat. She just
Okay. Let
shared
me pull
something
it
that I
up.
think is really, really cool, because I actually was part of
Which one
this
did she
because
say?
Tatiana's comment, she said you could also invite trusted friends to take over your
Mhm.
show while you're away. Laria Petrucci from Live Streaming Pros, she had a couple of weeks where she was away, and she asked myself and a couple other creators that she trusted to do specific things that kind of fit within her calendar. So she didn't just say, "Hey, do a takeover on my channel," even though it was framed that way, it was termed that way. We had some conversations about what exactly she was driving home, what was she really wanting to double click on, and it ended up being really great for a great experience for me and something that I would absolutely do again, again for trusted creators, right? So we're not talking about just anybody. You do want to make sure that these are people who you've probably already had on before. Your audience is already familiar with them, and then you're asking them to particularly cover a thing.
Yeah.
But that is another way that you can kind of plan those days in and give yourself a little bit of a break. I also want to say, what Tanya shared there is super dope, and it doesn't just apply to content planning. Honestly, so this is like a microcosm of life. Honestly, that's why a couple people in the chat were like, "Boom, mic drop, Tanya," because you really do have to kind of figure out what you have the capacity to do, what makes sense for you to do, and it may not look like what other people have done or are doing. It may not look like actually what the pundits and quote unquote experts say is best practice. It may just be what enables you to be consistent. And I know for me, when I'm coaching, consistency is the top thing that I'm trying to get my clients towards. Let's get to consistent. So if you say
Yeah.
you can do one video a week, perfect. Let's do one every other week. No, no, no.
That's
I
right.
said I could do one a week. No, no. That means that's the threshold. Let's aim for just under it so that we can maintain some consistency. Once we get that rhythm under our belts, we can maybe look to expand, because you never want to give less content than what you've already said you are going to give to your audience, because that's a verbal contract that you've made with your audience. You want to be able to maybe give them more, maybe give them some bonuses here or there, but not necessarily saying, okay, now we're going to be doing weekly content. Doing it
Yeah.
in a way that allows you to kind of grow into that space, grow into that rhythm, whatever allows you to be enables you to be consistent. I think those need to be kind of prioritized at the top. Yes, there are best practices, but it has to fit your lifestyle, or else you'll burn out. And that's what
Yeah.
ultimately that's what we're talking about. And we don't want that part. We want to avoid that as much as possible.
That is so true. That is so true. And thank you guys for sharing that. Let's go to the next one. I know we're going to be talking about trends pretty soon. If I haven't already talked about trends, I don't know. But understanding the trends for next year is going to be important inside of whatever content you are creating. So we're talking about planning content or content planning for 2024. I want to be sure that you also know as you're planning content what the trends can be. So I've said earlier that I would put trends inside of my work
Mm,
flow for the year,
mm.
but you want to know like starting off like how can I start off in January with like hitting some of the top trends and some of the things that is in my niche that I need to talk about. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's important and if you're asking, are you asking for specific trends that we want to give people a heads up on to get ready for January
Well,
or
no, because I like what you said earlier about being general. Because as content creators, there are trends that are inside of being coaches and all the other kind
yeah,
of stuff. But understanding the trend for their own niche inside of what they're planning for could be important.
yeah,
Like now
I'm,
to be studying and looking into the trends so that I can start in January with
yeah,
some real trendy things.
yeah, I
So
think
yeah.
there's, when we talk about, Tanya, I'm gonna let you kind of close it out. So let me just let me get my little comment in there first, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, please,
But
please.
I think where that is concerned, it also does depend on where you are in your journey as a creator. I think if you've been at this for a couple of years now, you want to start to develop a bit of a calendar, and January is a good time, as Strick is saying, to do discoverable content.
Yeah,
Right? There's different buckets to this thing. There's discovery, there's advertising, there's community content, and discovery content is not necessarily for your, already your core audience that you've built up. It's for bringing more people into your ecosystem, bringing people into your sphere, letting them discover you. And discovery content actually hits the algorithm a little bit differently. And so, yes, trending topics and trends within your niche are critical to be able to be discoverable. And January is a great time to do that. But if you are new to this game, I still believe, having a little bit more of a meat and potatoes. I mean, stay with your staple, right? Stay with
yeah,
your target audience, your value proposition. Just stay right in that lane and kind of get, I guess, build that muscle up, build that rhythm up, so that you really kind of solidify. This is what this channel is about. This is what you can expect. I'm not going to be chasing the bag. I mean, I'm not going to be chasing the trend. This is what we're about here. A couple years in, absolutely, you want to be discoverable. You want to find something that you can tie into what you're doing. But for the new creators out there that are just kind of like Vlogmas is your first foray into this content thing, I wouldn't necessarily say that trends is probably going to be part of your diet going into the new year. You still want to really kind of hone in on what your value is, and really double down on it, if you will, because that's what's going to differentiate you from the pack.
good stuff, Kirk. How about
super
you, Miss
smart.
Tanya?
I would look. He just mic dropped.
Oh no.
He just mic dropped. But here, I'll add this. I'll add one more piece to that, and that is one of the things that I love, 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 and I tell my kids to do it. I tell anybody who I'm talking to do this. If you want to get really good at what you do, you need to constantly be learning and understanding how to do what you do well. So, to Kirk's
Ooh.
point, and piggybacking off what he was saying, one of the things I didn't do well, which is why I can tell you this, I can confess, I wish that I had done better early on at studying other people's brands, studying videos, listening to more podcasts, reading more books, attending more events so that I could really,
Mm.
really learn all the different perspectives and sides of my craft and then formulate my own, have my own filter about how I wanted to do things. Because if you're not bringing in ideas, you can get stuck in your own head about what you think is right. And so you're out
Mm.
here delivering content and sharing things, and whether it's trending or not, but you haven't changed with the time, you haven't made the shift. And there's things around you that are happening environmentally that could be making an impact on how people either are perceiving what you're saying or whether or not what you're saying is still true. It may not be
Sure.
true anymore. So
Right.
I think one of the things that you can really be doing right now in this fall as you're preparing for 2024 and for January is to study, is to identify. So I've created a list of, for instance, podcasts that I know I want to continue to follow.
Mm.
Videos. Like I'm going through, and both of you and other people who are in this feed, I'm like, what's their schedule? So I can make sure that I go and support and also learn from them as they're doing their live streams. Like,
Very
how
good.
can you create lists of creators that you want to pay attention to and be in tune with so that you know all the different angles? And how do you put yourself in a place where you're constantly learning and you always have something in your ear? Because look, if you don't feed yourself with the positive things, there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there ready to influence you.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right.
So being intentional about creating that list of that learning list, right, that you follow and that you listen to constantly is going to be, I think, really key right now.
I like that you're saying that, and I have an example here. Kirk, I'm going to come to you with the next point after we do these comments, but I have, this is an example of these comments in this window period. It's not automatically lined up like I wanted to be, but this window period is something that inside of our community, Kirk may have already been doing this, and I may have been like completely unaware, but
No, I was
having
not.
the comment window larger, at one point, we just had all the comments basically on the bottom, right? And for whatever reason, that was nice and cool. But if you watch it on the phone, it's really hard to see. And sometimes it's hard to see what we're doing here. And I'm doing that as I scroll down because Sammy Superstar is coming through and he's saying hello to James. And James is
Love
saying,
it.
hey, come back on December 10th because on the stream show, I got James Hicks and I also have Alec Johnson. And we're going to be talking about trends for content creators. So next Sunday, get ready for that. And it's going to be crazy to have both of them on there. And then my man Brent is giving us some comments, make a schedule, stick to it, have a co-host as great as you keep each other honest and fill in for each other as you go. So I really, really like that as an idea, especially with what Tatiana said, as you can have people that are hosting. So co-hosts can just host if you can't be there and you can keep things going for people. And man, SBD is coming through. And man, yes, yes, yes. There he is, my man Kirk. So I love that the family's all here. And Miss Lala is here hanging out with us for the Ecamm fam. No worries, you're right on time. And yes, you can catch the replay as well. Thank you for saying that. Yes, we all need to prep for the year. And
Yes, we
brother, I
do.
tell you, every time you make a post about how good we are, and I appreciate you excluding Tanya on this one. Like, she didn't
Oh
have to be
my.
in this comment. You know what I'm saying? This is just about me and Kirk, okay?
I know. Y'all get it, get all the attention. That's fine. That's all
Oh
good. I
my
don't.
goodness.
So Lala said, I agree. Never stop learning.
Never stop learning.
Tatiana saying
That's
lifelong
good.
learner. And well, he did do this. He wasn't going to just leave you out. He says you do have a
He said,
nice
I do have a
backdrop.
nice backdrop. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
yeah. Just look behind the microphone in the face. All the stuff in the background looks awesome. And
Good.
I gotta say what's up to my man George here. It's good to see
George
you, sir.
Canellis, what's
Thank you
good?
for hanging out with
George.
us. And man, we have everybody here. Yes, he does look sporty with the vest and
He
the
does.
turtleneck. You know what I'm saying? He can pull off that look anytime. I mean, he's a fashion guy. You know, he's
He
very
is.
fashionable.
Oh my
Said
goodness,
he
you
had a
guys
little
are hilarious.
shindig to go to. He had to get his stuff together.
I had
I
to,
love
man.
it.
Had to. You listen. You got had the little T thing, man. Had to get right,
That's what's
but no,
up.
I want to say, man, Tanya, man, those are words to live by, man. Coming up with those things. I don't think I did that well when I first got into the creator space either. Knowing which shows I want to follow, knowing which conferences I wanted to go to, or at least figuring out what I was going to hit this year and what I was going to hit the next year. Having that plan in place, that's also part of your content planning as well, I think. And
Yeah.
I think it's so good it's such a needed reminder that we are lifelong learners, and we gotta learn not only what our craft is, but we need to learn ourselves and how we learn. So good, man.
So let me go to the next one here to see if this works for you, Tanya and Kirk. Collaborations as you are planning for your content in 2024. First of all, I think in any niche that you're in, you need to know who are the major players in that
Players.
niche. All
So
right. So
true.
knowing who those major players are could help you understand who their circle is of influence, who when they go live or when they have comments, especially on YouTube, who's coming there. Like do your research about your niche and people that are leading in it, but also find people that are like-minded inside of your niche that you could also collaborate with. Maybe you may not be able to get the top one, but maybe you find a group of people like I have. I mean, come on, man. Can you beat this? To be able to collaborate with people. You know, these are people that I really respect that are doing some great job in their own coaching arena that are willing to give me and you guys their time to help. Those are things that I think you want to think about. Now, this is not for every group. There are niches where collaboration really could shoot you to the roof. More importantly, is an encouragement that you just cannot get any other way than bringing somebody else on and you guys get a chance, what I call talk shop together. I
Hmm.
absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Can I say something about the collaboration joint real
Yes,
quick?
sir.
I remember when I was first starting out with my show, How It All Works, about almost 3.5 years ago at this point. But I reached out to then just a generic marketing@ecamm.com email address and got an email back from somebody named Katie. And I was just like, hey, I'm going live. I'm going to be highlighting your platform, Ecamm. Um, can I, is there anything that I could do? Do you have like a 20% off or something like that I could offer to my audience? And Katie responded back. I didn't know who Katie was at the time, but she responded back saying, you can give away a free subscription, a 1-year subscription to Ecamm, which I was mind boggled by, right? I was completely
Mhm.
blown away, but all it took was a question. All it took was an email. It was just me, just believing enough to say, you know what, let me try, let me see what I can do. And so there's multiple. I want to share that because of two things. Number one, collaborations can look different ways. So this, what you see on screen right now, this is a collaboration with 3 creators, but collaboration can also be in the form of sponsorships or giveaways. People who want to support your stream, want to support your show, want to support your content, and it just takes you putting the work in and asking. Because at that time, Katie and I don't have the friendship that we have today. She didn't know who Kirk was, but she was willing to give me that to give away on my show. I always remember that because that was my first interaction with her. She didn't know me from Adam. She didn't have a clue who I was. She didn't have to, but she was willing to work with me in that way. And I think in your niche, right, you're gonna know those platforms and those gatekeepers and those resources that your audience will want to get or that you will be constantly plugging. You're going to want to make sure you get in partnership with them as well. Find their groups. Make sure you're a audible member there. Those kinds of collabs actually bear a lot of fruit, not just for you as a creator, but also for your community that you're building.
That is so true. Anything you want to add to that, Tanya?
I'm going to give an opposite side of the coin perspective just for those people who are new to collabs, right? First of all, I'm going to acknowledge too that Katie is amazing and
Yes, he is.
everybody,
Yes, he is.
they have the best people. One of the things that I saw at Creator Camp the first night, within the first hour or so, is somebody said, can't remember who it was that said it, but they said, everybody's here.
Yeah.
Is that
Mm,
everybody here? And they were saying that because they knew faces of people that had used Ecamm, right?
right.
So here's the other side of the coin that I wanted to share, just because I want to make sure that people pay attention to this part. And that is, there are collabs, and then there are people that are going to want to reach out because as you become more visible, you need to be careful that you maintain protection
So
around your
true.
brand,
So
right?
true.
Because there are going to be people that will reach out and they want to collab and they say, hey, I think I should be on your show, or hey, I think we should partner. And one of the things that I've always done, even before I ever did anything with video, is I got really crystal clear because I got stung I got crystal clear about setting expectations and creating a partnership agreement. And as a matter of fact, on my website, I have a page that is specifically for potential partners so that they can understand, hey, if you want a partner, if you're reaching out and you want a partner, here's a couple of things. One, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is who my audience is. And if that seems like something that's in alignment with what you do in your brand, then maybe we can talk and we can connect so that I can get a feel for who you are and what you're all about. But I don't instantly agree to partnerships right off the bat. So never
So
feel
good.
so desperate where you have to be like, oh, I just want to partner. Hey, they reached out to me, so therefore I need to say yes. No, you need to put boundaries. You need to have that red velvet rope,
Yep.
right? And protect your brand and protect your community, because the partnerships that you create and the collaborations that you do not only impact your brand, but they could potentially impact the people that you're trying to influence. So I just wanted to make sure
That was
that y'all.
great. Can I interrupt you real quick? Let me interrupt you real quick with something, because I meant to, Kirk, I meant to do this earlier because she just started giving out like some bombs and I just wasn't ready
Straight
for all
bombs.
of it. So just give me a second to find this on the Rodecaster Pro. I gotta find it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Where's the horn? I don't even have it. I don't have the horn. Hold
Oh
on, let me
no.
find it. All right, hold on. Let me
No, but
find the horn. I listen. Don't go. Just wait. I want to find the horn.
yeah, she absolutely dropped a bomb there for
There we
sure.
go. This is. I
That's
don't even know how loud I have it. Let me get the sound so I get the sound right. I don't want another person to say another thing until I can
Wow.
play this doggone horn. Where is it at? Because I meant to
thank
do
you.
this earlier, and
Look.
James Hicks says
that's not
bank
the
one, pad
No.
horn.
three. Thank you.
I got it now, so I'm gonna put it where I can keep up with it, so I can just play this anytime she says something. I'm just gonna interrupt her. I think I got an EQ just right, so it's not too
No,
overbearing.
it's not too
But
overbearing.
oh my goodness, there is a balance to all of what we do, and she
It's
is
such
so
a
right.
balance.
She
Yeah.
is so right. You want to collaborate, and I think collaboration comes out of some type of mutual benefit
Hmm.
between the two people. You guys are. Um, how can two walk together unless they agree? You
Oh,
got
come
to be able
on.
to
Oh,
agree
come on.
about something. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Come
you have to kind
on.
of throw that Bible in there every
Rick.
now and again. There's
Come
just so
on.
much wisdom in there. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't know somebody, just because they have, a subscriber list that may be more than yours, don't mean that their
Mhm.
audience and your audience will agree. I mean,
It's so
the
true.
pollination that you have between two audiences, they have to somewhat kind of agree some kind of way, or
Hmm.
you need to know that person. I personally have not been burnt. What I've been burnt with is, of course, being on Ecamm's platform, or whether it was through the community page and now through YouTube. People will come on and just want to take the opportunity to be a guest, and that's it. And the best guests are like the two people you see right now. I've worked with Kirk on his show. We got to do some more, but I've
Oh,
also
absolutely.
been on Tanya's show, and there has been, an opportunity for us to have some type of partnership, which makes you friends. So when people say you have great chemistry, of course we do. We know each other, we respect each other, and we are walking down a path with content creation where we can help each other. Like
Yeah.
when Tanya talks, guess what? I listen.
Me too.
When Kirk talks, guess what? I listen. These are
I
people I
listen to
respect for what
you.
they're doing
And
with
and when
their
Strick
shows.
and
You
when
know.
Strick tells you to shut up so he can find the triggers, we shut up.
Hold what you got.
Lord. That's great. Boy, look,
That's
he's
funny.
trying to give you a heads up. He's like, bank one, pad three, Strick.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
Who is
did.
that? Who was trying to help me? Because
That
it
was
didn't
James
help.
Hicks. James Hicks.
I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. I gotta find it. I have to find it one day. I'm gonna definitely be working on those pads. And
Oh, man.
I want to get here. Yes,
He's right.
yes, and hopefully we can get down to that.
Yeah.
how she does that onboarding stuff, because she does have paid advice. So we're gonna see what all we can get for free today. And they call him. Yes, they still call me DJ, even though I have not a clue where this stuff is at. Yes, I finally got it, and thank you. At least somebody laughed. I told Tanya before we got started today that I was gonna make her laugh and smile the whole day. I was just
I
like,
love
we
that.
gonna have a great show. We're gonna have a great show. Mutual respect, appreciation, and consideration. It is golden, Tatiana. It's
Golden,
just a part
Tatiana.
of,
Golden.
and we say this, and Tatiana is definitely one to be able to say it. I mean, every last one of us had a chance to meet her at the camp. And with her husband there, I mean, did you just not feel the love oozing and goozing out of her? Like, she had a ball, and she
Tatiana's
just
special
brightened
people.
up the whole week, right?
Yes. Special people.
That is awesome. So, I want to be sure. Uh, yes, because this is so true. We talked about Tatiana and her onboarding. I think this is a good time to do this now.
Real
She
talk.
has. I think Dan told me it's 6 notifications that you send to people as reminders, and
No, it's not six. It's not
it's
six.
10. It's 10.
It's not even 10. It's
You send
3.
12 reminders out. Like, if you get on
No, it's 3.
Tanya's show, you're gonna get 12 reminders about coming to her show.
And here's why. Because again, as a coach that's been in this game for a long time, I would get resentful of people wasting my time.
Oh
Because
man, come
look,
on.
people, if they commit to something, I expect them to show up. And then what I was finding is that there were people who would either not show up, oh, I forgot, or I missed the day, or I thought it was tomorrow, and that type of thing. So you never have an excuse in my system to forget, because I'm going to make sure that even if life is getting in the way, you have an exit ramp if you need it.
That's it. That's
I
it.
like it.
I think that was the only thing I wanted to bring out there, but she said it right at the end. Those reminders aren't just to remind you of the day. It's it's an exit ramp. It's an opportunity for you to say, "Hey, that day no longer works for me. Can we
Yes.
reschedule ahead of the actual day event?" Right. So I love it. It's 3. It's 3, y'all. I know it's 3 because
He knows.
we did a deep dive of her process, and I'm hoping that she can, a little bit, because I know she's got her content planning session coming up.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, Kirk. And Tanya knows this. Like, once somebody commits to my show, you're in it for life. You're going to be there. There is no exit ramp. I will see you 20 minutes before time. Let's go. Like, can you make it? You already said yes, you will be there. Thank you so very much.
Hilarious.
All right, Tanya, help us out. Walk us through, give us the system that you use, and then it could be whatever system that you want to be able to share that you use to be able to do this, and then how it works when it comes to making sure that your guests are aware 10 times about their appearance on your show.
It's so funny. So I use a tool, and it really doesn't matter what tool you use, y'all, but I use a tool called Traft, Trafft. And the reason why I use it, one of the reasons I use it is because it was a lifetime deal on AppSumo. So that's number one. Ho, 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 ho. So that, but then the reason why I replaced all my other scheduling tools with that is because they give you so much flexibility with how you word the emails that are going to people. I wanted it to be in my voice. I didn't want some automated email that goes to people that says, okay, it's on this day. I wanted to say, hey, I'm excited that you're coming. I wanted to put my personality into the email. So you have a lot of flexibility for you to be able to create different notifications depending on what the person's setting up. So the first thing for me, before you even get to that part though, is the registration form, right? So there's a qualification. And just like James Hicks said, right? Because he's recently probably gone through, I think he's looking at my process right now because I've invited him. I want him to be on my show. But I've initially sent out a personal video saying, hey, I'm inviting you personally, and here's what my show is about. And if you're interested, then here's the step-by-step process. So then they go to the guest registration, and in the registration form, because here's the thing that I know, not everybody's being invited. Some people are sliding in and finding that form some kind of way. So I want to make sure that I am helping them to self-disqualify if they need to,
Mm-hmm.
or if they want to continue to go ahead and submit their information, they can. But I've given myself the permission to be able to approve or decline. So if I'm taking a look at the information, I didn't invite them, I can see info about what their URL is, what their brand is, what they're about. And if it's not a match, then I have it set to where I can say, we are not a match at this time, but thank you so much for submitting, right? And in my own voice. So there are different steps. I sit and I think through every system that is a part of my business. And for me, the most important things about the system were I wanted to make sure that there was personality in it, that it didn't feel robotic. And that's so important to me right now. And it should be to you too, because right now we're competing with bots and
We are.
with automation. So I wanted the personality in it. I wanted to be able to make it hands-free as much as possible. I wanted to be able to give myself flexibility and have the other person be able to see if this is a match or not so that they understand what they're getting into. And I wanted them to be able to have reminders so that they know if you need a pre-check, right? If you need a pre-check call so that we can test your system and make sure your audio and your sound and not your audio and your visual are all good. I want to make sure you have that ability so that you and I can get on the horn and on Ecamm before it's the date. So all of those things are built into the system. I thought that through because I wanted to make sure it was going to be effective. And if they're approved, right, you're not going to see all of that strict because you and Kirk, of course you were approved, right? So you're not.
I had to do the registration.
You
Tanya.
had to go.
I did the registration and I did the pre-test.
You didn't have a pre-test.
I
Did you
did have a pre-test. We sure did. We connected before our show, and it may have been like for just we haven't talked before, other than seeing each other online. So it was an opportunity for us to kind of connect. But yes, that was a pre-test.
No, I think I didn't. We did that as well, but I didn't think it was a pre-test. It was more just kind of
No, she was testing you out, Kirk. She hadn't approved your date yet.
No, I didn't even sign up at that point.
We just wanted I want to get to know people and know.
I do that all the time, actually. I do a 15-minute meetup with people all the time, and many of those people I've not been on their show or they've not been on my show, but at least as you meet people in the community, I have that on my booking page. There's a 15-minute meetup thing on there. Anybody can grab, and it's really more so to just kind of, we see people in the comments, but you get a chance to actually meet them and hear a little bit more about what they do. But I think that the main thing that you're sharing there, and again, everybody's going to have to come up with what works for them based on what you've experienced and the things that you do and your time, because I think that was a big thing for you, was making sure that it was automated, that you didn't have to touch it as much. And I think that is critical for some people. Just being able to have that thing done and off on its own and working is absolutely critical. But you're going to have to play with that thing. There's no cookie cutter onboarding process or guest invitee process. You're going to have to figure out what works for you, and we're going to have to tweak it a little bit. What I tell my coaching clients is be a guest on as many shows as you can, because that you will learn what you like and what you absolutely do not like.
Right.
And it will help you to refine your own process.
Right. True. Like not liking that Strick will ask you 2 weeks later and then remind you hours before the show that it's time to go on. And just expect you to know the content and the whole nine. Like the invitation was like, hey, just come on the show. We'll just chit chat. Like, what are we chit chatting about?
Hey, we're meeting today. Wait, what? Don't forget the show tonight. Strick, you never told me a time. And how am I supposed to access?
It's on, all day. We're going to meet all day. Like the show is all day. So I That's why I'm having this talk, because not only do I think the community could use it, I personally am finding ways to be better at what I do. I want to reach out to other people. I really want to have uh, um like the Ecamm fam, an opportunity for one of the Ecamm fam members to be on a regular basis, like coming through different ones. Some of the people that need a little bit more of awareness, they want to be on the show. They see all of these people on the show. They want to be, I want to be able to do that. But those people may not be as prepared, and I need to give more details up front
Yeah.
about them
Mhm.
coming onto the show than you guys would need, you know?
That's true.
Yeah. So
Say
having
that
that
again?
checklist ready, having that checklist, whether it's a PDF that you can attach to the information, or maybe it's something that they can pull from a page, or I have a little short video that also has the PDF, depending on how people want to learn or intake information. So
Mm.
either they can follow the really quick one pager sheet and say, okay, these are things I need to check before I get on, right? Or
Hmm.
they can watch the short video with me giving a quick walkthrough of, hey, check your speed. Here's some things that you want to make sure you notice. Here's a couple of my previous shows so you can get a feel for how things flow. That kind of stuff, if you give people expectations up front, they feel more comfortable. But the basics strict for you are going to be really, you probably don't need to use TidyCal.
I'm not using TidyCal. I'm sorry. I had to let that go.
Yeah, just having a calendar that ensures you're not showing conflicts with your existing appointments.
Right.
If you just have that, and then have some type of brief form that people can fill out. And I'll tell you the reason for the form. It's more than just I want you to fill out a form because you're taking a test. It is you're filling out the form because that helps me to put our promotion together. So I get your headshot, I get your bio, I know how you want to be titled, right? I
Yeah.
know the things that you want me to present about you. And what I say in the form is, I want you to shine. I want to shine a spotlight on you. So I need this specific information so that I can best represent you when you come to the show and even before we have the live.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff.
Let me
So
let me
I
throw.
see the form, or I see what you're saying in my mind. It's no different than having a small click funnel
Yeah.
to a calendar invite. So
Mhm.
basically, you have the video with the button, hey, DJ Strick, want to invite you to the show. Like, what other show would you want to be on than my show? Come hang out with us on Sunday nights. It's
Come
7
on.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested, I do need some information from you. Hit the button below. They hit the button below to be able to give me their information, headshots, and all of that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then once they do that, if it's somebody that I'm reaching out to, I want to have them on the show. That's how they got the form anyway. They can then choose what day or what Sunday best suits them. And it's all done just like a click funnel. You go from one thing
Yep.
to the next.
That's exactly right. And
Okay.
Kirk, I knew you were going to add something, some gold.
Well, no, I was gonna share an experience. So I
Hold
had
on. Let me, no, one second, Kirk, before you get started. Let me just do this really, really quick. Okay, 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 okay. I'm better now. I'm better now.
I'm better now too. No, I had the awesome opportunity to be a guest on the social media marketing
Mm,
podcast with Michael Stelzner,
me too.
and that was a very different experience. Very different from a lot of the shows or guesting that I had done before. There was a form to fill out. I met with an assistant of his first. There was I think, a tech check before everything was confirmed, and then there was a pre-meeting about a week before our actual recording, because it's not a live podcast. And that pre-meeting, I met with Stelzner. We talked about what we were going to go over. Um, we talked about. I'm not going to give all the details there, but we talked about his avatar, and he has a name for her. It's a her. Gave me all the demographics, and he said, "This is who I want you to speak to when you come on the show. I want you
Hmm.
to speak to her. This is what her life is like. She's a boutique marketing agent." And he gave me all these. I mean, I was so prepared for that
Yeah.
episode that I could not help but knock it out of the park. But I'm saying all that to say, when you get a chance to guest, I've learned from both the best shows that I've been on, and I've gleaned things from those that I try to incorporate in my own onboarding process. But I've also learned from the worst as well, right? There are things about those experiences that I remember, and I'm like, I never want to do that to a guest. I never want a guest to have this experience. And so I know that a lot of times when you're getting started out, you want to be selective, and I think you should be, because you don't want to tie your brand to something that isn't necessarily what you would readily promote. But all of those experiences have made up what is now my current onboarding process. So I think, again, I just want to kind of go back to that same concept of you're as you learn that process. I did a podcast tour in 2018 where I was on one podcast a week for the entire year, 52 podcasts, just a random thing that I just decided to do. Some of them, sometimes you record once or twice, but over the course of the year, I was on 52 podcasts. I learned so
Wow.
much from that process. This is before I even launched my own content, that I could, it's invaluable in terms of being able to come on the show, understand who you're speaking to and the topic for the day, how I can bring the best parts of me out, while making sure that I stay on task because I am on somebody else's show. Being a guest is also a skill, and
Yeah.
so as we talk about being a lifelong learner and recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, areas that you like to improve, being a guest is one of those things that not only we can work that muscle, but being a good guest helps you to be a better host as well.
That's so true. That's so true. And come on, man.
Yep. I was gonna say, let's get that
Yes.
DJ.
Let's go ahead and get it out there. I
Oh,
really like this. Let's go to another thing as we're planning content for 2024. How diverse should we be thinking our content needs to be during this time? Like the diversity of the content, making sure that we are, even if you're in a niche, but you can still hit that niche from different angles so
Yeah.
that, again, you don't get tired. Again, that you can keep your audience on its toes, because yeah, we're going to be talking about this niche, but we're going to be talking about it in regards to um, like with content creation, man. I mean, we have so many things, from lights to mics to cameras to interfaces to Ecamm, the new releases of Ecamm. There's so many things you can do, from hosting to, how to look into the camera, how to use a teleprompter. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Having an idea of that diversity, even with knowing when holidays are coming up and you want to do a pre-show holiday, like we're planning content for 2024, like having all of that in your mind ahead of time with diverse content could really help.
Mm.
What do you think?
you want to go first? That's
I was
it.
looking.
That's
I was
it.
like,
Go
what?
ahead.
I said, no, no, no. Let me let Tanya go first. Go ahead.
So I will tackle it, and I'll try to make sure that I keep this brief so that because I know Kirk has something. I can see
Uh-oh.
it.
You see his
It's like,
brain moving, right?
so real quick, two things. One, from a diversity standpoint, I think you have to be watching or thinking about the customer life cycle. You have to be thinking about, because look, I like doing video, but I also like feeding my family. So I'm not just out here doing content because I like to do content every day. That's not the whole purpose of it. I do enjoy it. I am passionate about it, but it's also a part of my business model. So
That's
I'm
it.
being real. So
That's it.
when I think about my content and what I'm working on now is working backwards from the offers that I'm going to deliver. So when I think about diversity of content, I'm thinking that there are people, I call it the ABCD. Awareness, there are people who are not aware of me. They don't know who I am. So I need to reach them. There is the B for bonding. So there are people who they know who I am. And now we're in this bonding and relationship building phase. And we're nurturing the relationship. And maybe they haven't purchased from me yet because they're purchasing in the C phase, which is conversion. So now they've become a part of my paid communities or a course or a workshop or something, right? Where they've exchanged monetary value for whatever I'm giving them. And then the D is the delight, which is they're raving fans and they're telling everybody, hey, I'm in Tanya's community and I love her, and here's why you should too, right? So when I think about diversity, I'm thinking about how am I creating content that's reaching people at any point in the stage of where they are working. They are either working with me or getting to know me or wherever it is, okay? And one of those A, B, C, D. So that's one thing. The only other thing I'll say is I think we also in 2024 need to be thinking about short form, long form, written, podcast audio, podcast video. Like we need to be thinking about how can we diversify the way that we're delivering content because people want to consume it in different ways. And if we're trying to reach people at that ABCD, then we need to be putting together and repurposing our core content in ways that we can reach people at however they want to learn. So there I go. That's it.
I can't touch the mic. It's too hot.
Yes, you can.
When she said ABCD, I didn't know she actually had the acronyms
Oh yeah, she
ready.
had it down. Yes,
That's
yes,
dope.
yes, yes, yes,
I'm done with you.
yes.
No, I do want to add. We talk about diversity. Well first. So everything that Tanya said, my goodness, that was so good. I took notes. I did take notes
I
because
did as well.
it was that good because I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to have to find this in the video later. I'm going to type this out now. But I want to say this to somebody. For me, I get a lot of my video ideas, content ideas from the comments on previous videos. And so don't miss that gold mine. When you talk about diversity of content, I'm not saying every question that's posed you need to do a video on or you need to have a show on. I'm simply saying as you put out content and you realize that maybe there was a deeper level that you could have gone to, maybe there's another aspect of that particular thing that you didn't touch. Strick and I talked about this on one or two other shows that we had earlier. That when we saw some of the questions, we were like, oh man, we could have actually gone to another level here. And so diversity also in terms of the depth. So you have that beginner content, you have that intermediate content, you have that advanced content, and there you want to be able to understand and know what bucket your content fits in. But secondly, another thing that I get almost routinely is feedback from my coaching clients, and one of the feedback that has had a ramification or impact, I should say, on what I'm delivering in terms of content is motivational content. So one of the things my clients keep on saying to me is, man, when I leave a session with you, I feel like I can take over the world. Like I wish you actually did more motivational content. And now I'm doing I guess a limited run of a show called Morning Motivation in Media. That's my new show that I'm running this on mornings at 6 o'clock every morning. And
That's
I'm not
awesome.
running it because I'm trying to grow an audience at that time in the morning. I'm actually running it because my cheat code is going live. And so I'm going to repurpose those videos and use them elsewhere. They only have a 48-hour replay. But the idea is when you're talking about being able to plan content, what are your funnels that you're able to get where social proof is already baked into the concept, right? Because you already know that if I do this video, there is a certain group that's already asking for it. And that group is a part of the community that I'm already serving. So what better way to be able to serve that or to diversify, if you will, to have that other angle, that other form of content than to pull from those people that you're already serving well in that delight phase that Tanya talked about. I mean, I
There you
love
go.
that ABCD. I mean, who can
Yeah.
forget that ABCD? Who can forget that? So the people those are already in that delight phase, and they're like, dude, what about this? I'd love for you to go deeper on this. And you're like, okay, that's an area that I can do some deep dive on and figure out how I would say it, how I would bring that out, what would be Kirk's version of that video, and that may be a video that I do. So as long, I mean, again, according to my content schedule, what my strategy is, where I am at in that cycle with my clients. Because again, one of the reasons that we go live is to grow and engage an audience. That's some people. Another one, what might be to establish yourself as a thought leader. That's another group. But the other, and I think me and Tanya are right in this lane, is to create steady streams of referral-based income. And you just want to be unapologetic about those things and recognize that this is what I'm here for. Then I need to make sure I deliver on that value proposition.
I like it 100% what both of you guys are saying. And I want to wrap it up with this. And I think the point we just made is what we're going to wrap up on. Every piece of content that you make in 2024, it needs to have those ABCDs in mind.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now I'm raising my hand because I have made content for a long time and not always had the end goal in mind, which is the D, to get people to be delighted enough to be in a community with me, which is also where you get people that are monetized with you. Okay. Like you want to be thinking about how can you best serve your audience in every video, leading them to the next thing, right? So if you're live, if you got short form content, some kind of way, there's a button, there's a link, there's for details here to get more. All those things have to be added into whatever it is, the content that you're making, whatever content I'm making for 2024. Like the thing that I'm going to do different, a couple of things, making sure I plan it out. All right, making sure I plan my year out and I'm taking the summer off, right? Making sure that I do have some diversity in it, making sure I do have quality guests and they are ready and prepared, like Tanya, to come be on my show. And making sure that I understand the ABCDs, but definitely wanting the goal of having somebody delighted with the content, the information, my time, that they're delighted in what I have given them. So that's what I want to do. So if we're talking about content planning for 2024, man, I just think this is a good start for people to kind of have a landing pad to be thinking and using their brain to see where they want to go next. Well, Tanya, I'll ask you, what do you think about that?
I think that makes total sense. I love it. I love the idea of being focused and intentional and on purpose. And I'm not even going to tell you that I'm always 100% on purpose. But one of the things that Kirk said that really stood out to me, and I wrote it down, was making sure that we're paying attention not only to the content that's obvious content, but content is inside of your comments. And for me, that's something I definitely need to pay more attention to. And I also need to give myself grace that when I mess up and I send a piece of content out that didn't do so well, it's okay. I got more I can create.
Yeah, send another one. Send another one. That's my mentality. Oh man, that didn't work. Let's go another time. Let's do something else.
That's so good, man. Review, man. Review is where the gold is made. That's where the magic happens when you get a chance to review. Yeah, review. Innovation happens in review. Review is. I was saying to a client recently, you can't get to the best part of content creation until you've actually created some content. And he was like, well, what's the best part? I said, it's review. It's review. I sit with my family and we watch old school How It All Works videos that were terrible. Y'all, they're all there.
And you make your kids sit down and watch that, Kirk?
Oh,
you
yeah,
make the kids sit down and watch?
We laugh. And I always learned something from it. There's stuff that I was doing when I first started that I got away from and I absolutely thought was terrible. But then every now and again, I'll see something that I used to do and I'm like, man, why did I stop doing that? That's actually pretty phenomenal. And, review is where the magic happens, y'all. Listen, there is no other Tanya. There's no other Strick. There's no other Kirk on the planet. There will never be another. There's never been another. We're one of a kind, man. It's like the mold is broken. And so, because that is true, you get to be a PhD in you. You get to have the best of you. You get to produce the best of you. Can't nobody else tell Strick's story but DJ Strick. I'm going to shut up now.
Let's do this really quick to kind of end what we got tonight. The principal came in a little late, but she's 100% engaged in the conversation. Kathy, thank you for coming through. And side note, well, I already talked to Tanya about this, and she didn't know what I was talking about. She's like, "What? There's football
I
people playing football right now?"
like, what?
Uh-oh.
No, I knew, but I was choosing to ignore him. I'm gonna have to ignore you on this one too, James. Dang.
She get over it.
Haters.
So I love this, George.
Believe me too.
2024 will be my year to go live. All this information is priceless, George. I'm telling you. Now, we are some live goers. Saying it backwards. We love going live. It just is. It
Love,
is in my
love.
DNA to turn the camera on and hit the button. I have no anxiety in doing that. Like, I don't care. Like, if you get Kirk and I together, like, we don't even have, Brent Collins was like this too. Like, we can just go live about anything. And Tanya has shown all she needs is a little direction, and she can hang with the boys as well. Like, see, we just
He is
go.
phenomenal.
We just go. So I did want to say that. Let me go back here because I want to be sure I get all of these before we go. You know what he's talking about? Don't give him the duck
Yes,
race.
I did the duck race. Oh, James Hicks, you're hilarious, sir. I don't give up on the duck race. I used to do a duck race as a giveaway for a number of my shows, and so I'm not giving up on it. I'm not giving up, James. Not giving up at all. That's
So let me do this. Lala says to George in the comments, you gotta love the Ecamm fam, guys. This is what it's all about. Please give us a heads up so we can be there, George. Please let us
I would
be
love
there
to be
when you
there
go
as well, George.
live. And he's thanking Lala. We want to know what you guys are doing. And you guys, oh, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
Listen, I have really enjoyed tonight's show, and I thank both of you guys for being on and kind of helping us through planning the 2024 content because things are different now. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, like, why I never thought, like, we need to have breaks. Just don't go in and say, I'm going to do 52 weeks. I'm going to be there every week for you guys. And then you get to feeling overwhelmed and you just drop out from your audience. You do not want to do that. Plan it out. Tell your audience when you're going to be there. Listen, they will respect you for your being professional.
Yes,
Enough to have a schedule. Like, this is big. Like, my favorite content creator is going to be off for 2 weeks. Listen, during that time they're off, I'm going to do this, and this. So when they come back, I can catch up with where they are coming back to us with the information. Like, guys, there's so much to come out of that. I want to tell you guys, though, before I forget, how much I appreciate, and I know I got 2 people here, but I really appreciate what you guys are giving the community. I appreciate what you're doing for other content creators. I appreciate the space that you're making as a coach that people can learn from you and go further than what you have already made for yourself. If people are looking for people to connect with, I have 2 great ones on the screen right now. And I'm giving my recommendation. If you are getting ready for 2024 and you need to be able to talk to people that can help you get to the next level, all you have to do is connect with them. All you have to do, Tanya, you mind giving them your information really quick so if they're ready to get going, to be a part of your community and need the coaching that you provide, they can get with you?
Yes, absolutely. Go to getnoticedwithvideo.com. And if you are interested in learning more about our programs, there's a tab that says the Academy. Just click on that and you'll find more information about what we're up to. We're making some changes and updates and upgrades as we're getting ready for 2024, but I am more than happy and willing to offer whatever I can if I can help with your situation. So thank you for having me on the show, Strick. Thank you. I
It's been
appreciate you.
awesome. It's been awesome. I must have to give you a script. Like, Kirk, we have to just send her a script and say, read this and send it back to us. Like, oh my goodness. Like, what's that's MV7?
Yeah, this
Sure,
is
MV7?
an MP7.
Sounds great. Sounds
Sounds
great.
great. It
Like
really
you can
does.
just read books. That's another thing you could do. Just read books and
Yeah,
sell them back to
it's really
Amazon.
nice,
You know what I'm saying?
clean,
You could be
clean,
the
crisp.
audible reader.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you.
ma'am. Kirk, how can people like they're ready for your program? They are
Uh-oh.
like absolutely ready to go. 2024 is going to be their year like George. How can they get connected with you to help them get over the hump?
Man, KirkRNugent.com, man. I don't have the QR code locked and loaded today, but KirkRNugent.com, hit me up over there. Everything's on the page. But if you want to go to the digital card, it's the same URL. Just put /card in front of it, KirkRNugent.com/card. And you'll see, book 15 minutes, drop an email, drop us a text, whatever. Everything's on that card. Whatever, I like to chat it up with people first. I like to kind of see where you are and see how things are going, see what you want to achieve. I'm onboarding a coaching client right now, and we're just having such a great time with that discovery process of helping him understand who his target audience is and what are the things in his story that really can affect change for others. So I love that stuff, y'all. Like I was looking at some things the other day. I was like, I absolutely love coaching. So would love to chat it up with any of you as well. But I want to also say this. I always say this, and I always want to make sure that we double click here. But you're on the stream show. You're watching the stream show. DJ Strick is the host of the stream show, and you want to make sure you drink from that well first. You know what I'm saying? We, myself and Tanya, we'd love for you guys to hit us up. But I'm telling you, man, you've got a wealth of knowledge and wisdom in DJ Strick as well. And so so many times I'll guest on people's shows, and I'm like, yeah, but I learned that from him, right? I'm a guest on Strick's show, but Strick taught me how to do this and this and this. So yeah, I would love to meet with you guys, love to work with you, but definitely make sure you exhaust the resources that you have right here at the stream show as well.
Definitely. Thank you for saying that. And thank you guys for your time. Like, this has been awesome. Of course, I love what I do every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got me in the stream show. That being said, next week, James Hicks, Alec Johnson, they're coming. Both of them are coming to the show, and we're going to be talking about 2024 trends. We're going to trend it out for you so you can be prepared for January. Hey guys, it's been a blessing. Thank you so very much for being here at the Stream Show. Hey, this is DJ Strick, and I would like to thank you for watching another edition of the Stream Show.